So today's topic is going to be diet, and in particular, I recently got a chance to read the excellent book, Diet Cults by Matt Fitzgerald. Highly recommend it for anybody else who's kind of interested in getting and actually a really good perspective on diet. Another really great source is the Evil Sugar Radio podcast, which just the first couple are literally just mind blowing. Just how good they are. Essentially, the problem is. The topic of the book, Diet Cults, is about how all these diets that, are shoved down our face by the fitness industry daily, on a daily basis, by society, by, people who think that we, need to diet to lose weight. The problem is that most of these diets are really just, they really are just cultish sort of, they're ways of living more so than ways of being healthy. And yes, they can sometimes make you healthy. Many of these diets work, but the problem is that the fact is that the human body is capable of living on a variety of different kinds of diets and living healthily on it. There is no one best diet, and theoretically, what the best diet is should vary from person to person based on your genetics. Not that we have any clue, what. How, to go about figuring out, what works for who, other than trial and error. But the point is that, essentially, we've got cultures all over the world. We've got cultures living on high-protein diets, cultures living on high-fat diets, cultures living on high-carb diets, cultures living on low-carb diets, low-fat diets, low-protein diets. And all over the world, a lot of these, all of these cultures are healthy. They don't have, huge rates of obesity and, major issues the way Americans do. And in part, it's because a lot of these societies are sort of hunter-gatherer societies, that are, they're forced to eat a very, a diet that's very rich in a certain kind of food because that's just sort of the circumstances of their, just their way of life. But at the same time, it's real evidence that it's not about the macronutrients you're eating, in particular, and that's a huge thing. It really is about it's about your overall calories, and it's about how much activity you're getting. And yes, we know that there are certain things that are bad for us. We know, for example, that lots of processed foods are really bad for you. We know that vegetable oils are bad for you. Stuff like that. But at the same time, there's lots of stuff which is just fine, you demonize, a lot of people demonize carbs, they'll demonize dairy or whatever, demonize gluten. And the thing is that, from person to person, some people might have issues eating these foods. But again, overall, people can survive on a vast variety of different diets. And sort of claiming that there's one, all-encompassing perfect diet is really kind of ignorant because it points out that you're not paying attention to the fact that there are all these cultures all over the world that do eat, in such vastly different ways while still being very healthy. It's quite possible that, like diet and, weight has a lot more to do with stress. It has to do with the pleasure of eating, has to do with your activity level. There's a lot of other factors that go into it other than just what you're eating. So there's not really any particular, magical miracle diet that's going to get you, everything you want. You can pretty much eat anything you want in moderation. And that's sort of the topic of the book, is the book examines how, none of these diets are very, are necessarily superior, but they all sort of, they whip themselves up into this frenzy. They engender these, cult-like behaviors in their fans and their practitioners, and that gives these people a sense of community, a sense of belonging, which makes it a lot easier to follow this diet. And yes, again, that can be a good thing if the diet, if the diet is kind of structured well enough and it helps you avoid things that, might have been a problem for you in your previous dieting. But, again, there's not necessarily any, one superior diet. And the problem is that in the fitness industry today, extremism is the norm. You have to be loud, you have to be obnoxious, you have to be very simplistic and just sort of massive and just as a way to get across to people. You have to be just again really obnoxious, and so that's what these people do. Is they're people who don't really know their stuff, or some of them are even just con artists, and they don't really know their stuff, but they're really great at shouting really loudly. And, they're really great at advertising themselves, and they're really great at, developing that. And that's, it's a fucking problem because, the vast majority, like moderate, isn't sexy. You can't sell it. It's not something that you can really be loud about, even though it's true. It's the right way to go about things. And of course, it's not really my intention to go really too deeply into, sort of the specifics of diets right now. But I will reiterate, I will emphasize that you can eat whatever you want within, your activity level, within your context, and, and you'll be healthy. And that's not to say that, I'm advocating that you sit down and eat, like soda pop and cake all day, but, I am trying to, get people to realize that, it's not about sort of demonizing and orthorexia and, very strict, ordered, very dysfunctional sort of dieting. So, excellent book, again, Diet Cults. I recommend you check it out. A great crash course in sort of, just sort of the ridiculousness of the fitness industry, the ridiculousness of the diet industry, and the two are very similar right now, I think, in that it's very much cults of personality here and there. So could not have been a more apt title. So anyway, that's it for today. Like the videos, rate the videos, comment the videos. The usual. Have a good one.